Good morning and welcome to Immigration Friday. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Great. Good morning. Thank you for joining this morning. My name is Rumbi from Zawabaya, and every Friday we have Immigration Friday Q&A where we answer your questions. So if you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat and we will get to them. But this month we are doing a special. So we're doing a special which is for Father's Day. So it's Father's Day month and we are doing a special this month where we're answering questions from fathers, questions that relate to fathers, questions that have got to do with fathers. So it's a special month for them. Thank you for joining, but we answer other questions as well. So it's a combination of questions. So yes, thank you for joining. My name is Rumbi, if you haven't been on this page, and I am from an organization called Tulia. So what we do at Tulia is we help migrants to settle. So we provide holistic support. Most migrants need immigration advice. So that is always our starting point. Our entry point is from the legal. And that's my strength. That's my experience. So I am a solicitor and have been one for 25 years. The same number of years that I've been married. So 25 is a special number. I've been admitted in England and Wales for 20 years, since 2003. So that makes it 20 years. But I was admitted as a solicitor in Zimbabwe in 1998. So our organization takes the different aspects of the type of service that I like to provide. So I'm not your standard solicitor, even the way I'm dressed. I'm not wearing a suit. I'm not your standard solicitor. So our organization is one where we give advice, but we look at the person as a whole and we wrap around the service, mind, body, soul, and spirit. So we support people. We allow people to, if they need just someone to listen, if they need someone to pray with, if they need food, if they need accommodation. So our organization provides holistic support. We help to resolve conflict. We help to just manage situations and help people to integrate and integrate well. So that is what we do in a nutshell. Please visit our website, which is www.tulia.org.uk, where you can find out more about what we do. So our aims are to educate through lives like this, to empower, to bring about restoration. Restoration, if you don't have regular immigration status, you'll find it difficult to focus on other things. So we help people to deal with that issue. Then we help people to deal with the other issues that come around it. And this month, we are dealing with questions that relate to fathers. And in addition to that, I'm running a couple of courses, which are e-courses that you can take on dealing with issues relating to fathers for adults who perhaps didn't have great relationships to their fathers, with their fathers, if their fathers were absent, if their fathers were neglecting them, if their fathers were abusive or died early. You know, there's so many different dynamics in our relationships with our fathers. They're good fathers, they're bad fathers, they're absent fathers, but they're not all the same. So we celebrate the good ones. We celebrate the good ones, and we encourage people to heal from the wounds of the ones who were not so good, so that you can let that go and move on with your life. You'll be surprised at how much hurt people carry from parents, how much hurt people carry. But sometimes it's whitewashed when we say, when we just say, honor your parents, full stop. But don't allow you to even express how disappointed you feel, how let down, how hurt. You know, the hurt is real, and the hurt is it can cause bitterness, it can cause illness, it can cause you kutungo swear, you know, spending your life just so I speak in Shona in my brain, and I translate to English. So I'm trying to translate kudzungaira, so to wander around. So there's so many things that affect us in our lives, and so we do that. So that is something that I have an organization called Freedom, where we provide courses about healing, and we support people in that. I host conferences, help people with one-on-one. So you're going to see a lot of that content on my Rumbidzai page, not on the Tulia page. And so I'll encourage you to sign up to some of the courses, download the ebooks, join in the prayers that we're doing every morning, Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 7. We've been doing these now for about 2018, so about 5 years. We've been having online prayers where we delve into different things and pray about different things. So join in. You'll see the post on my page. Prayer changes things, and I'm a Christian, unashamedly so. So in everything that I do, I put God first. So even in our work, we do the very best we can, and we always put God first. So back to the questions, because now I'm talking quite a lot. But I was just waiting for us to Timbo Wanda, and then I will start to answer the questions that we have. So we've got lots of questions. I've got them here. But the one for fathers now, the one that I just wanted to address this today as a special for fathers. So it says, we came to the UK in July 2022. My wife is working as a healthcare assistant, and she started to have an affair with the manager at work. When I confronted her, she kicked me out the house. Please help. What are my options? So this is a question that we've received from someone when we called out for questions. So we go through them because we get hundreds. And this is one that we are answering today. So husband is a dependent. And there are many husband dependents, right? And care work is many, men do it, but it's more women who do it. Men come as dependents. Women are nurses as well, more. I don't have proper statistics, but I know proportionately more women are in healthcare than men. So this couple, the woman came as a healthcare assistant, husband came as a dependent. And the wife has found somebody else that she's fallen in love with, and she no longer wants him. So he's asking, what are my options? So it's difficult, where dynamics change, because I don't know what it's like now in Zimbabwe, because I haven't lived in Zimbabwe for many, many, many years, but I do go home a lot. But when I was growing up, we had traditional roles where we had father working, mother working, but helping father. That's the setup I grew up in years ago. And we had maids to help, and we had relatives to help. And so when you come to England, everyone is working. Usually husband is working, wife is working. Dynamics change. The power dynamics change. That, I think, is probably a discussion for another day. But just that dynamic of the husband is now a dependent on the wife. So there's a little piece of paper that changes everything. Because, when you are in your home country, in Zambia, in Zimbabwe, in Nigeria, if you have a marital problem, you deal with the problem, which is, in this case, the affair. So you deal with the affair, but you don't deal with the there's no other issues around papers. There's no other issue around immigration status. So this issue of who's the dependent, who's the main applicant, it's already changed the dynamics of the family. As soon as you apply for that visa, where you are now depending on someone else, your stay in this country, your permission to work, your permission, everything resolves around you are now dependent. So, power. It gives another person power. So whoever has it, power. So it also, with that power, it's then I can do what I want. So what? If people have that attitude. The law here is so stringent on domestic abuse and violence, and so dynamics change. Power dynamics, territorial spirits, territorial forces, things change. So this man is now finding himself in a situation where his wife has hurt him. She's had an affair. And then she says to him, Usanditanga, don't even ask because you're on my visa. So get out. Get out of my house. If you try even to raise your voice, she'll tell you, I'll call the police. Don't even start. So this is the situation that this brother who asked this question has found himself in. So he's homeless. 1, his visa is threatened. 2. So the first question I always ask is, I ask usually in Shona, because I think 90% of our people who use our service, maybe 80% are from Zimbabwe, but we have a mixture. But if I'm speaking to someone in Zimbabwe, in Shona, I can speak Shona, I say, so I ask, can it be fixed? What can you get help? What help do you need? Because having an affair doesn't mean the end of a relationship. Affairs have been there since time immemorial. Women and men and people, that's what happens in life, right? So you can overcome it. So we ask, is there anything that can be done? Do you think have you sought help from your relatives? Have you sought help from your church? Have you sought help from professionals? How have you tried to fix it? Because the problem in this question is, the first problem is my wife had an affair. So before we go on to talk about your options, Nemape, with the papers and your stay, we find out, can that relationship be fixed? Can you sort it out? If you can sort it out, then do that. What can we do to help you? Can we refer you to someone? Can that be sorted? So that's the first thing to explore. And sometimes people will say, no, nothing can be done. We can't fix it. The relationship is finished. It's over. I don't want her. She cheated on me. And I don't even trust myself, because if I go there, maybe I'll end up hitting her. So I don't want. So if a person feels that they have done everything and they are not in a position to continue in the relationship, that's fine. Then we go on to the next stage, which is, what are my options? The skilled worker visa and the healthcare visa, which is what this man who's asked this question, his wife is a healthcare assistant. It's a wonderful opportunity, and it's made life easy for us as advisors, because it's given an option that wasn't there years ago. So when you are on a dependent visa and your relationship breaks down, the principal, the sponsor, she will notify the Home Office to tell them that the relationship has broken down. Then the Home Office will write to the dependent to say, we've been notified that your relationship has ended, and we're giving you a period of time, which is ordinarily 60 days, for you to switch your visa or to go back to your country. So you have options, right? So the first option, and maybe the easiest option, is for you to get your own visa, your own job. Apply for your own job as a healthcare assistant, or in any other sector if you have other qualifications and there are other jobs on the shortage occupation list and other jobs on the list anyway, so you can apply for your own job depending on your skills and your qualifications. If you don't have qualifications, then you take your English test, get your DBS, look for a job in the care sector where there's a shortage. Get your driving license, sort yourself out, and move. In the meantime, before you're still allowed to work, you're still allowed to get your own room to rent, you're still able to live. So you can switch to your own visa independently. So you're allowed to do that. So you have to make a plan. And you have to sort out what you need to sort out and stand independent. If you feel that you don't want to, or it's not for you, you can return. You know, no one ever says that people have to stay. You know, you don't have to stay. You can go back. So, you know, you don't have to let your visa overrun. If you say this place is not for me, I came to support my spouse, our relationship ended, she cheated on me, then you move. You know, if the relationship is ended, you can go back. It is always an option to go back. But the first option, I would say, if you're here, you might as well work, switch and stay on your own, or you are allowed to do that. So that's the easiest option. If you somehow cannot work for whatever reason, there's so many reasons that people cannot work. There's so many reasons that people struggle to be able to get even a job, because there are many people looking for switches. So it may be that you are unable to get one. And if you've got children, this question from the father, it doesn't say whether or not they have children. But I'll assume that they've got children. So, you know, when you come here and you've got children, they need consent from the other parent, or both parents must be coming. So there are people who use each other, you know, who say, I'll get you a visa so that the children can come. But when you're there and then this happens, like the scenario I'm giving, you are then left without that visa when you consented to the children to come. So the advice that I give to people in that situation where there's children and you're living nearby is to make an application to the family courts for a child arrangements order. So about the living arrangements for the children, about your contact with the children, so that you have the right to stay and maintain a relationship with your children. Because children, the reason why the Home Office is so strict about sole responsibility, about consent, about parents, because they understand that it's important for children to grow up with both parents. We are celebrating good fathers, and no parent deserves to be alienated from their children. So where there's a problem between the parents, the children are not part of that. They're not. You know, there's a saying that says, when the elephants fight, it's the grass that suffers. So when there's this affair that we're talking about here, affair with the manager, father is told, go back, I don't want you, get off my visa, get out of my house. But there's children who have been brought here, and the Home Office has approved that visa because they think that those two are going to parent the children together. So you have a right to get legal advice about your options around the children, which is a separate issue to the immigration, right? But if you now have a court order that says that you are, you have contact with the children, or they live with you half the time, live with mom half the time, you are co-parenting, then because the children have a visa to stay here, you can also apply for a discretionary visa, which will enable you, because you don't meet squarely the rules, to stay so that you can exercise contact with the children. So even though your children don't have indefinite leave, they have limited leave, but we can argue that you should, you can stay so that you can continue on to parent your children and to have a relationship with them, separate from your relationship with the mother. So you do have, but that visa is conditional. If your relationship breaks down with the children, if you decide to move far away and you're not able to maintain all the contact, so it's conditional. So it is an option, but the first option I would say is get your own skilled worker visa. So thank you for everybody who's joining. We're so happy to have you. It's so good to have people to talk to. And I've been answering this question. If you're joining on late, you can always catch it on replay, or you can watch it on our YouTube channel where we upload all of our Facebook Lives where we answer questions. And this month we are celebrating fathers. So our focus on the questions that we're choosing are questions from men. They have 1 month. So we women, we have Mother's Day, then we have Women's Month. So we have more months of being celebrated. But this June, it's Father's Day on the 18th of June. So this month, our theme, we decided to have a theme around questions that have been asked by fathers. So that's the question that we were answering today. But the same answer goes if it was the mother who was asking or the wife. So if the wife has come as a dependent and there's a relationship breakdown, the father there's any reason the relationship breaks down, the mother, who is a dependent of a skilled worker, can also apply for their own visa, independent of their spouse. They can then, they can apply. Or if they've got the children and there's a link, they can use the same route. So the same situation applies. So I hope that's been helpful. I did see a question that was asked on the chat. I can't see the questions on some of the other pages because we're cross-posting, but we will make an effort to answer them later. But Bla Mucho, I'll answer your question. You said, I need your help. My wife is on a tier 2 visa sponsorship as a care assistant. I joined her in February this year. Now she's applying for the visa of our 11-year-old son. On the application form, the child is requested to enter my details as the other parent. Further down, it then asks of the date of arising at the address, which we gave as well as the date we'll be leaving that address. My wife's sponsorship is for 3 years, ending in April 2025. Should I put the date of leaving the address as the same as the date of the sponsorship? No, I don't think they ask you for the date of leaving your current address, but they ask on the form for your previous addresses. So the date that you lived at from this date to this date, from this date to this date. I think you may have misinterpreted the question. What you could do is just book in a 15-minute call. We have a massive backlog, and we're trying to get more resources and more people so that we can do more of the whole day of free consultations. So we do a whole Tuesday where we take call after call after call after call of people with short questions and answers because we are unable to keep up with the demand. And so we answer those questions. So you can try and book in on the 15-minute call. And I trust that somebody is going to post a link in the chat later on from our team. Then you can book into that in a call, and then we can go through and answer your question. So if you've got any questions that we need to perhaps just share a screen on Zoom and look at the form for you, it's better to do that than to make a mistake. So you can do that. We do that on a Tuesday, and we're so grateful to organizations that help us to do this. So there's nothing that ever is for free in this country. So we at Tulia, we are a community interest company. So when we give you something for free, someone's paying our electricity, our rent, our lights, our time, our internet. So we charge for some of our services. So we charge for some of them, but there are some services which are free. And if a person so we get help from Heart of England, they've just given us another grant, and we are so grateful for that. We get support from the National Lottery. We get support from JTI, an organization that is absolutely amazing, who have supported us in so many different ways and continue to support us so that we're able to reach people where they are, so that no one can say I wasn't able to get advice because I didn't have resources. So we are able to do that because of the people who support us. The Alan Lane Foundation, so many organizations, Matrix Fund. So there's so many people who have actually, who work with us and who support us. We also have some corporate sponsors who constantly support us. My husband is my greatest supporter. Anything I do, he supports. So Rock Housing, his company, they always support us. We always know that we've got one solid corporate sponsor. So I give from my own earnings. I give into Tulia because it's our social enterprise, which is a community project. So even as I give of my time, give of my resources, we have people who sow into the work that we do. CLM, our church, are amazing. You know, our website, they paid for it. So there's so many gifts that we get, which make it possible for us to be able to give to you. So when we say it's a 15-minute free, we are able to do that, but we need to expand. So we need to look for more resources so that we can employ more people, so that we can have more time. So that's how we work. And then the other times we work, we have to work on our fee earning so that we balance our overheads, our salaries, and things like that. So we run a business, which is a social enterprise. We don't depend on donations only, but we have combined income. So I hope that makes sense. And that's why we're able to do Malawi Viwawa. That's why we're able to do the 15-minute free. That's why we're able to take referrals from social services, referrals from other organizations, so that we help anyone who needs immigration advice according to our capacity and our ability. Right, so the last question I'm going to answer today is from Memory. She says, Rumbi, if a child has been born in the UK and was born in 2003, but I got my settlement in 2011, can they automatically be British? Thank you, Memory, for asking us that question. So we've got an oldie. So somebody who, your child was born in 2003, you got your settlement in 2011. So they don't automatically become British. You have to register them. So your child is now 20, isn't it? Yeah, 20. So they have to apply for naturalization. So they fill in a form that they have to get British citizenship. And then after that, they apply for a British passport. So it's not automatic. They do have to register as a British citizen and apply now. So yeah, they go through the process. It's about 1,000 something. I'm not going to say the exact amount, but there is, so they have to also do the Life in the UK test, and they also have to do the English language test. So I will ask somebody to put a link there for you for the forms and the information. But definitely please do it because it's really worth it. No, Mussolini, I think you were asking about the switching. It's not just for care. It's all types of jobs. Graphic designers are on the shortage occupation list. Accountants, teachers, nurses, social workers, doctors, construction workers, butchers, people to pick the fruit, but they come on a special visa to pick the fruit pickers, but not on the skilled worker visa. Every job, if you go on there, there's a whole long list of so many jobs. And you know, this skilled worker visa, it's always been there since time immemorial. It used to be a work permit scheme. That's the second visa that we got, that my husband was on years ago. So it's been there since time. However, it's the lower skilled jobs, which are not your traditional skilled jobs like quantity surveyors, accountants, doctors, which were on the shortage list. They introduced in February last year carers. So because of the shortage that was there, because of Brexit, and because some of the people who were from Europe who used to work in the sector, they went back to their country of origin during COVID, and then some didn't come back, and some don't want to come back because of the rhetoric in the press where they keep saying we don't want migrants, so they're staying in their country. They didn't come back, so there's a vacuum and there's a shortage. And so now we have a new wave of migrants who are coming from India, from Nigeria, from Zimbabwe. So migrants from South Africa will always be there, from Kenya, from Uganda, from Philippines. They will always be here because they need us, because I'm a migrant, because there's skill shortages. There's shortages in so many different areas. IT, finance, so many. So there's quite a lot of people coming from America, from Brazil, because there's shortages in IT, in so many. But the one that is easy was where you don't need qualifications, you don't need experience that much. You can come in as a care assistant. So that's why there were many more numbers. It opened up for more people. So it's not that it's something new, it's always been there. However, there's a category that was put that opened up the gates for many more people. So it's not just, so you can get a job in so many different sectors. Yeah. Yeah. So Dolly Jane, for that person who's an overstayer, it's according to the rules, they cannot just switch into a skilled worker visa. Dolly Jane, your question's the one I'm answering, where you've asked if someone who has got no leave to remain, if they can switch into a skilled worker visa. I have seen people who were on temporary admission, who are asylum seekers, who didn't have leave, being able to switch. I've heard stories from other solicitors of other people who had no leave to remain, depending on their circumstances, being able to switch into a skilled worker visa. But it's not in the rules, and it's not something that I can guarantee and 100% say to you it's possible. But it's worth a try, because what's the worst thing? It can just come out refused. So I would encourage, to say try, because we've seen people get them, but it all depends on the circumstances and the circumstances for the people. Yeah. So that is absolutely wonderful. Thank you everybody for joining me this morning. Thank you for joining. This video will be on after. I don't know why I'm stuttering, but this video will be on afterwards, so you can replay it. You can watch it. Next Friday we'll be back on. You can check out all of our old videos, which are on our YouTube page. Tulia Group will send a link there. Please subscribe, and you can find questions to most of, I'm confusing myself, answers to most of your questions on there. And yes, thank you so much everybody. I'm so happy. We were 172, so that's a lot for us. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Please continue to watch. Please share this video. We try to bring out real, true, authentic advice and information. We're not just playing on Facebook. I spoke to someone who came in for our 15-minute call, and he said, you're very professional in this, Mashua. So I think they thought we were just another scammer. There's so much fake news. There's so much information that comes out, and there's so many people who are professionals in their own sector. They will give you advice which is wrong, or they'll give you advice which is not correct. And we are regulated. We are regulated, and we have so much experience. So we are able to give advice from our knowledge and experience, which makes the information that we share with you credible information. So anything you see on our website, anything you see which we've written is authentic, I won't tell you about scams. I won't tell you about things where how to cheat the system. It's just true, legit advice. And so thank you so much for joining. Have a wonderful weekend and see you next Friday. Be blessed.